Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi Night Light, where I talk about random topics that somehow relate to sci-fi and horror. It's Christmas, and wouldn't you know it?
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Or so it would be if we didn't always bring up horror, sci-fi, or action-y kind of things.
I have something for you.
I have superlative taste.
So the subgenre of Christmas horror could very well be credited to the classic 1974 film Black Christmas, which really helped bring on more Christmas horror in the 80s. Now, as outlandish as that very concept of Christmas horror is, believe it or not, but some pretty damn weird Christmas horror films have been released during the years, even by that standard, and I'm sure you guessed that we're checking them out. Quick disclaimer though, we're skipping Killer Santa movies because A, there's just a ton of them, and B, we're gonna specifically do something separate on that, maybe not this year, but at the very latest next year. So with that out of the way, let's kick off this list of crazy Christmas horror. We're gonna start off with the most recent entry on the list, Krampus from 2015 by Trick or Treat director Michael Dougherty. If this film sounds familiar, it's because me and my buddy Joseph Ari talked about it last year in our top 5 Christmas movies video, which you can view by clicking the annotation on the screen. In the film, a family that loses its Christmas spirit gets a pretty terrifying visit from a titular monster, as well as all his little Christmas ghouls. Now, to be honest, this film isn't particularly crazy or bizarre compared to some of the crap you're about to see on this list, but it basically earns a spot in here for being this generation's Gremlins. It expertly captured that old school balance between horror and adventure, and while it wasn't the first film to bring up Krampus, it is the first major release to do so, and Krampus is kind of like the anti-Santa in a way. And we get a really nice and nostalgic blast from a past that I simply felt was worth bringing up, as it did more than just throw a Killer Santa into the mix, but actually did something pretty fun that was a breath of fresh air to the Christmas horror genre.
Oh, come on.
Alright, so if that was too much quality for you, let's go straight for the bottom of the barrel. Killer Christmas Trees. Yep, that's right, you are not high on crack. This is the 2008 short film Treevenge.
Goddamn trees! Fuck!
So in this film, poor innocent trees get cut down, taken away from their tree families, and turned into Christmas decorations.
But you take a look at this no goddamn good piece of shit. You're no good to sell. You're all banged up. It's wreath time for you. Take this piece of fuck out of here!
The trees then, who are sentient somehow, decide to take revenge on the people who wronged them by way of ultra bloody murder.
Oh my god!
So yeah, this film was a real piece of work with a whopping 7.5 on IMDb.
What the fuck is this?
Despite this being a ludicrous and outlandish concept, it's directed by Jason Eisner, who made the Grindhouse tribute Hobo with a Shotgun, and Treevenge is done in the same Grindhouse style. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, it looks like it was filmed with a piece of cabbage, the acting is suitably laughable, it's unnecessarily bloody, and it's so absurd that it's hilarious, which is exactly the point. So you can't really fault the movie for being just as silly as it's trying to be. Check it out if you want some hilarious, bloody Christmas lunacy, and if you got 16 minutes to kill. So remember how I said that we wouldn't be including Killer Santas? Well, here it's the other way around. In the British 1984 film Don't Open Till Christmas, somebody in London must have gotten something much shittier than coal in their stockings, because there is a serial killer on the loose hunting down anyone dressed as Santa and delivering death instead of presents.
A homicidal maniac is loose at Christmas. His target is Santa Claus. His motives baffle Scotland Yard. Without a pattern for murder, no one dressed as Santa Claus is safe.
Now, this is a very cheesy 80s slasher that doesn't really have a whole lot of unique or interesting features aside from a Christmas angle, but the killer's mask is pretty creepy and there are some alright deaths. Overall though, this film doesn't really have anything more than its gimmick of Santas being killed. If it sounds fun, then go for it, but you're not really missing a whole lot.
What possible reason could I have for going around killing Santas?
Oh, none that we know of.
Let's move on to another serial killer in the form of a demented snowman in the 1997 flick Jack Frost. In it, a convicted criminal gets turned into a snowman by way of a toxic chemical spill and shitty writing, turning him into a killer snowman.
Out here where I can see you, you Christ-floating dog! Gosh, I only asked you for a smoke.
This leads Mr. Frost to go after the sheriff who imprisoned him, as well as a bunch of others along the way. Alright, so you only really need to look at the cover of this film to see that it's a pretty stupid and cheesy flick. It definitely works for a couple laughs though.
World's most pissed off snow cone.
An interesting side note is that this came out just a year before the Michael Keaton family film of the same name, which I'm sure caused some confusion in the video stores at the time. Oh yeah, and somehow this shitty film got a sequel where a killer snowman gets frozen down and brought to the Caribbean, and via some bullshit magic can't melt or something. I don't really care, the movie blows.
Oh, that isn't the cutest little thing.
Alright, I'm gonna need a shot at tequila for this next entry. 1984's Elves, and it's kind of insane.
Where is she? Who in the hell are you? What are you, a goddamn Nazi or something? Is that elf yours?
Basically, it's about a girl who realizes she's part of a Nazi plot to birth a master race via crossbreeding with gross elves, and only a retired alcoholic detective now working as a mall Santa can save them. Yeah, for real, I'm not making this shit up, this is the actual plot. This film is about an alcoholic Santa saving a woman from being fucked by a Nazi elf goblin thing.
Denial. Jesus.
Most of the film makes little to no sense. The elf itself looks like crap, the film quality is crap, the acting is crap, but damn, this is actually pretty hilariously entertaining.
And the Oscar goes to...
If you're down with films that are so bad they're good, then this is a gold mine. Oh yeah, and it features a sleazy Santa getting stabbed in the dick. Yeah, like I said, this is a real movie.
You think anybody's gonna shop here with bloodstains on the floor?
I'm sorry my friend's blood all over your fucking store. You want me to stay here and clean it up, asshole?
This brings us to the last flick, and as is often the case, we're finishing off with the oldest entry, 1964's Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. The title mostly explains the film pretty well, in that Martian children have become obsessed with Earth, TV, and customs. But guess what? There's no Santa Claus on Mars to give the Martian kids presents. So instead of a Martian dressing up as Santa Claus, which would, be way easier and cheaper, they instead decide to travel to Earth to kidnap Santa as well as 2 kids so that they can use Santa on Mars. And that is about as 60s of a plot as you can get, especially considering that the power of love and the spirit of Christmas is what saves the day. An interesting side note is that in Sweden, this film was titled Jultomten fixar allt, meaning Santa Claus fixes everything, because I guess they thought the original title was too ridiculous to market, even in the 60s. So that about does it for this episode of Sci-Fi Night Light. We hope you enjoyed it. If I missed your favorite crazy-ass Christmas horror flick, be sure to let me know what it is in the comments. I'm your host, Sebastian Wendell Martinez, and I'm signing out.
piece of motherfucking cock-licking ass wipe, huh?